it just me, or has it felt like an incredibly long week? We have arrived, dear friends of damnation, at Thursday. Praise be. Because I'm telling you, there are some days when I get on here and I'm like, to go through the news, to sort through and to tell you, like, here's what I'm keeping an eye on. Like, what is it? What is it? Like a spider that has multiple eyes? Like, I don't know how to keep track and not lose my ever loving mind of all of the things that are happening right now. Somebody just sent me a note on Blue Sky and they're like, oh, by the way, here's an article. I think Trump is trying to take over the police departments across the country. Oh, here's another article. I think that Trump's military parade is really like, his bid for martial law. Oh, here's something else. It's like, for the love of God, can he take a fucking break? Can we get a break? Can we take a beat? I don't know, y'all, but happy Thursday, happy Friday, Junior. Happy, you know what? We are just a couple of weeks away from it being Memorial Day. And I swear, we all need to party this summer, have joy this summer, like it's our last summer. Because I'm kind of thinking it may be. Welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show, dear friends. Let's get into it. So, dear friends, it is Thursday. It is Friday, Junior. We are just a couple of ways away from summer, and I am just holding on for dear life because the news, the news. I feel like in so many ways, this administration is trying to kill us. Whether it is taking fluoride out of water, like Ron DeSantis just did in Florida, whether it is having Robert Kennedy Jr. in charge of, oh, I don't know, our health and our well being, whether it's the fact that planes keep falling out of the sky and Newark as an entire airport is just crumbling, whether it's the fact that your neighbors and friends are disappearing and, we have a Secretary of Homeland Security that says the president can absolutely decide to suspend habeas corpus. I mean, what is the Constitution anyway? And then you have today the Supreme Court is hearing arguments around birthright citizenship. I mean, just one of those things is enough to kind of send you over the edge, but all of them every fucking day coming at you like a fire hose filled with acid, for the love of God, it's amazing we can make it through each day. But welcome to our crumbling empire. Let's get into it. Why Qataris are happy to dump their 747 on Trump. So, as you all know, and as I've talked about this week, that Donald Trump has received an offer. He says it's a gift, and he says it's a beautiful gift and the best gift, and you would be stupid to turn down a gift from Qatar, the funders of Hamas, like, who I thought were our enemies, but not apparently when they are lavishing our dear fearless bone spurs of a leader with luxury gifts. So, but why are the Qataris are happy to dump their 747 on Donald Trump? Oh, let me tell you. This is funny. And this is coming from Forbes. The Royals have failed to sell the plane. So get this. It isn't as if oh, I don't know, that they are trying to lavish Donald Trump with their gifts and to sway him, even though I think that that just sweetens the pot. But this plane has been on the market for 5 years. The royal family has been trying to get rid of it since 2020, and they've had no takers. So giving it away could save Qatar's rulers a big chunk of change on maintenance and storage costs. Aviation experts told Forbes making Trump happy would be an added bonus. Qatar, which has given away another blinged out 747 and may have mothballed two more, epitomizes the fading demand for these huge, fuel guzzling, highly personalized planes. There aren't many who want to buy them, and many of the governments and royal families who won them have been trying to ditch them for over a decade. Here is what an aviation consulting managing partner, Linus Bayer, said to Forbes in this article. God, it's so funny. Quote, Qatar, like many modern states, is shifting towards leaner, more versatile aircraft, which offer better economics and more discreet presence for official travel. Giving the plane to Trump would be, quote, a creative disposal strategy that marks, quote, a farewell to a bygone model of geopolitical theater in the skies. So basically, the royal family has this monstrosity of a plane that costs way too much money to store, too much money to fuel. And they're royals, right? So they're not new money. Let's just say that, right? Like this is old money. And they don't want the expense. So what better person than the tackiest, gaudiest, right? Self-indulgent piece of garbage of a human, Donald Trump, to say, oh, I'll take your palace of the skies, because in his mind, he's a king. In their minds, he's a rube, right? He's a mark. So not only, right, which I've said before, not only would it cost us, the American people, millions of dollars to get this plane into Air Force One mode, because it's not, Air Force One isn't just a plane. It's essentially a flying White House. It's essentially the flying situation room, right? Like the missiles that it has, the detection that it has, right? It is not just your average 747. It's not Delta, okay? So the fact that in order to retrofit this to fit the security needs of a president, it will cost millions and millions and millions of dollars to upgrade. On top of which, you see that the Qataris, right? What are they doing? Oh, the world is changing. We need to be leaner. We need to be less audacious. We need to have sharper, quicker, more modern, and environmentally efficient ways from getting to place A to B. So, where should we park our relics of the past? In America, because they seem to be going fucking backwards. And who is clapping like a fucking mindless seal about it? Donald Trump. I just, oh God. It's just the scripts write themselves. They write themselves. So on top of which, so Donald Trump doesn't want to lick gift horse in the mouth. Funny enough, they're laughing all the way to the bank because guess they get to offload this sizable mistake that they have made with the gaudiest man in America, and then are going to use our tax dollars as a way to fuel it and store it, right? Until it goes to Donald Trump's library, which will be filled with what? I don't know. Call girls, strippers, coupons, Diet Cokes. I have no idea. But not to be outdone with the audaciousness of a gifted 747 that is a national security nightmare, Trump, U.S. Army birthday bash plans include 25 Abrams tanks. That's right, because nothing spells leader of the free world like a military parade. So Reuters reports twin celebration of U.S. President Donald Trump's birthday and the Army's 250th anniversary will include as many as 25 tanks rolling through Washington in a celebration that will cost $25 to $45 million. Is Donald Trump paying for that? No, you are. You're paying for it. You're paying for the ego parade that Donald Trump is going to be going on so that he can cosplay his favorite dictator in the streets of America. U.S. military service branches take pride in their history and anniversary celebrations called birthdays across the United States and on bases around the world. Two U.S. officials told Reuters on condition of anonymity that of the eventual cost could be as high as $45 million. One of them said the cost included several $million more than it would have without a parade. You see, because here's the thing. The military was going to celebrate, right, their 250-year birthday. They were going to probably put up on the National Mall, I don't know, like some type of an exhibit. Here's a tank. Here's, these things that people can try on, whatever. And they're going to celebrate it around their bases around the world. But what they weren't going to do was have a parade that requires all sorts of permits, all sorts of personnel, or all sorts of payments to not only to Washington, D.C., but to the military. They need to get the tanks here, which how are they just rolling them on the highway 495? Like, are they putting them on an aircraft carrier and then dropping them off in the Potomac? Who knows? But what we do know is that we're paying for it. Donald Trump's ego on parade is what we are paying for. And it is like in the length of all of the things that are happening, it's easy to kind of shrug this one off and just say, like, you don't care. But the fact of the matter is, folks, this is yet another check in the dictator column that Donald Trump is checking off in less than 6 months. To have this show of force, not to the world, the show of force is to show the American people what he commands, what he controls, and what he has the ability to weaponize against the rest of us. Donald Trump has been in office again for 3.5 months, and he's cost the American people millions of dollars, millions upon millions that will result, if he gets this horrific, big, beautiful bill passed, will cost us trillions of dollars. I was talking to one of my co-hosts the other day. Actually, was it earlier today? Who knows? Because I record so many shows in one day. Nonetheless, I was talking to one of my co-hosts, and you'll actually want to listen to this interview. My co-host of the As the World Churns podcast. And if you haven't subscribed to the As the World Churns YouTube channel, please do. And then it's available wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe there as well. But Andy Levy, my co-host, is interviewing a public health worker who he's asking, and this interview will be up at midnight tonight. He was asking them, if in fact, let's just all hold our breaths for a moment and we pretend that we're going to have another presidential election and we pretend that it's going to be free and fair and all the people need to do is just vote Donald Trump and the Republican Party out. Let's just pretend, because I don't believe that that's the case. But like I said, let's pretend. This public health official said that even if a Democrat were to get back in control of the White House, even if the Democrats were to win back the Senate and the House, right? And you were to begin undoing all of the wrongs that Donald Trump has done. Do you know how long he said that it would take for America to get back to the place that it was pre-Donald Trump? Best case scenario, he said a generation. And now, so Andy and I are like, a generation, which is what I've been saying. But what is a generation quantified by years, right? Because, you have different decades. It's like the millennials, Gen X, boomers, blah, 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 blah. But how do we classify a generation? And a generation is classified between 20 to 25 years. So I just want you to now think about this. This public health official said that best case scenario, that we would undo what Donald Trump has been able to do in months, could undo it, and it would take 20 to 25 years. So where do you think that we are going to be in a year from now and 4 years from now? If what has already been done in 3.5 months will take 20 to 25 years at best to undo. And today I put up a video. I put up a short video, and if you haven't seen it, check it out, that says that we've been under Trumpism for 10 years. Folks, it'll be 10 years in July since Donald Trump came down that escalator. And he has forever changed, ruined, destroyed our politics, our faith in agencies over those 10 years. And I said in the piece that is up right now, in the video that is up, I said, and in that 10-year time, Democrats haven't learned anything, haven't done anything outside of the norm that would have woken up the American people to take action on their own behalf, so that we wouldn't be sitting here talking about the fact that, guess what? It is not hyperbolic for me to say, and have been saying prior to Donald Trump's election and post his election, that we will not see a quote unquote rebirth of America or American democracy again in our lifetimes. If you are middle-aged or older, or early middle age in your 30s, because the lifetime expectancy has fallen 3-4 years over the last 5 years in America, understand that if you are in your 30s and up, it is unlikely that in your lifetime you will ever see the America that you were raised in return. We have not even begun to fully feel the austerity that this administration and MAGA Republicans have manufactured. We have not really truly begun to feel the weight and the pain of the tariffs, even though they're on pause and off pause every few weeks. We have not fully begun to see the disaster of Donald Trump's war on people of color, on migrants, on immigrants play out. And so I say this not as a way, and I say this not as a way, folks, just to depress us, but to center us in what your call to action needs to be in this moment, because it isn't to get back the America that you have grown up in, that you've worked in, that you've strived in for yourselves, because that is not going to happen. But it is to set the course and stage for what comes after Trumpism, to not just be a return to the status quo, but be better than we ever were. That's what it is that we are fighting for and working for. It is not to get back to where we were in 2024 or 2023 or 10 years ago prior to Donald Trump. It is to get to a place where we can actually imagine and create an America that is a true multiracial democracy, that is about the liberation, celebration, and dignity and respect of all people. Something that this country has never lived up to. So I think that it is important for us to understand the weight and breadth and depth of the impact that Donald Trump has had over the last 10 years, and particularly the last 3.5 months. That for 4.5 years, they were drawing up their plans for Project 2025 so that the blow to our democracy would be fast, would be furious, and we would be too overwhelmed to even know which direction to begin to plan our resistance towards. And knowing on top of which, we have an entirely feckless Democratic Party who were presented with the plans of Project 2025 and still didn't create a response document, narrative, or policy or law push. So if you have not checked out my short that is up now, please do and share far and wide. But also, it's a lot to take in when you think about how much damage has been done. And that is with regard to the damage to our public education system, to our curriculums, and what generations of children now are going to be learning, what students are going to be learning, what immigrants are going to be learning, what adults are going to be learning about this country moving forward. The America that we have known is dead. And this is what it means to live inside of the rubble and try and find and create paths out of it. But this is where we are. And I say that to say that it is important to register where we are currently so that we can create a plan for where we actually want to be. But pretending that what Donald Trump has been able to accomplish in this short period of time, and pretending that, oh, we can turn this beat around in midterms or turn it around in a presidential election cycle, I mean, it's just foolish to think that. You have to think longer term and take your ego out of what it is that you want to experience and start thinking about future generations. Because this is what they're getting. House Republicans are currently pushing forward their plan to cut taxes, but they say cut taxes for the rich is what the New York Times left off of that. plan to cut taxes for the rich, Medicaid, and food aid for everybody else. 3 committees advanced legislation that would combine into the big, beautiful bill, because that's what the fuck these idiots have called it, to enact Trump's agenda. But the package faces a rocky path. And the reason why it faces a rocky path, but I don't believe that it won't pass, is not because of just Democrats' objections to the cuts to Medicaid and to food aid programs, but it's because some hyper conservatives in the House don't believe that the cuts to Medicaid are enough. And then others in the Republican Party are like, we won't be elected again if, in fact, this goes through. So the measure would extend Trump's 2017 tax cuts, which, by the way, they also forget to say here, added trillions of dollars to our national debt. I think it was roughly between $7 and $9 trillion is what Donald Trump added to the deficit in his first 4 years. Cuts to Medicaid, food stamps, and subsidies for clean energy would partly offset the roughly 3.8 rounded up to $4 trillion cost of those tax measures, as well as increased spending on military and immigration enforcement. The fact here is that the Republican Party is literally taking food and resources out of the mouths of the poor to fatten the pockets of the rich. If the rich were charged with paying their responsible portion of taxes, we could have free college in this country for everybody that wanted to attend. We could have free healthcare. We could have modernized infrastructure that is on par with other developed nations. We could have, right, free healthcare, free universal pre-K. We could have maternity leave and paternity leave for people. We could have so much. But America would rather make it so that a few have everything and the lot have nothing, or fight over the crumbs. And that's what they have been feeding. That's what this patriarchal, racist, capitalist machine has been feeding to the American public. And, you know, there's something funny, a quick aside. Whenever I'm on Instagram, for instance, I get these videos that come into my feed of people traveling to Japan and traveling to China and traveling to other countries. And they're like, oh my God, such and such a country is like living in 2050. And what is now becoming the norm in these videos is to say, no, these other countries are not living in 2050, right? Or the 22nd century, or whatever it is that you're saying. They're actually living in 2025. And this is what it looks like when your government actually invests in society, as opposed to feeding the pockets of the uber wealthy. America could have all of those things that we love to say about how advanced other countries are, when it's not that they are advanced, it's that their priorities are not oriented around filling the coffers of the already fucking wealthy. But we have believed what the oligarchs have peddled down, much in the same way that they've peddled down the trickle-down theory, that, oh, if you provide the tax breaks, then, oh, it trickles down. And it's been since 1980, and I haven't felt any fucking moisture in the air. Have you? Have you felt anything fucking trickle down? Any precipitation at all? No. Because it's a lie. And on top of that lie that they have fed, they have told you that if you want your government to do more for you, then that's socialism, and that's you needing a handout, when in fact you should just be pulling yourself up from your bootstraps. They don't call it a handout in these other industrialized nations. It's what your tax dollars do to work for you. And so, I mean, it should piss you off. You should be fucking angry because you have been fed a lie your entire lives. America is not exceptional. America is exceptional for a few people who won the fucking white supremacist lottery and have able to have generational wealth by denying other people access. And then those people are celebrated as celebrities that we applaud and want to model our lives off of, knowing that they started at the finish line when the rest of us don't even have shoes or a track or a uniform and are going through a moat filled with alligators in acid. Folks, like, the lie that needs to be undone is all of what Republicans and some quote unquote moderate Democrats have allowed to happen over decades and decades of feeding the rich, this insatiable monster that will never, ever, ever be satisfied. So until the rest of us are broke, undereducated, sick, and completely desperate, and have created absolute mania in this country, will anything change? You know, I did an interview with my friend Glenn Kirshner on As the World Turns, which will go up tonight at midnight. So it'll be available. And there, in that interview, Glenn gives some incredible nuggets and his thoughts about why he thinks that Donald Trump just needs to take a sledgehammer to this country and not continue with the bit by bit breakdown. So make sure that you listen to that interview. But, you know, on top of where we are with losing every last bit of our porous social safety net. Thank you, Susan. Here's what the Supreme Court has been up to. You know, I laugh so that I don't just turn on the camera and microphone and cry, to be honest. Like, there's just, you know, it's just so bad. It's like comical at this point. The Supreme Court seems torn over judges' power in birthright citizenship case. So here's the thing. One of Donald Trump's first executive orders was to end birthright citizenship in the United States. And Donald Trump, as president of the United States, doesn't get to do that. But the whole point of every one of his madman executive orders is to get it into the courts, which he has stacked, and then he'll get his way, right? Like, or he'll do what he's been doing, which is ignore the federal courts and just continue to move forward while our democracy dies. I thought that this image that the New York Times actually had, the Supreme Court is under construction. And in my head, I'm like, isn't it? Isn't it under construction? Right? Like, it's not under construction. It's been demolished, right? Like, what worth does the Supreme Court have these days except to take rights away and put people of color, women, queer people back in their place? Like, what is the Supreme Court? What's its value? Nonetheless, several of the justices appeared torn between two concerns. They appeared skeptical that single district judges should have the power to freeze executive actions throughout the country, but they also seemed troubled by the legality and consequences of the executive order underlying the case. An order issued by Trump on his first day in office ending birthright citizenship, or the practice of granting automatic citizenship to all babies born in the United States. This is, once again, you have to understand, their white nationalist agenda. we were all told that in the year 2040 to 2050 or somewhere around there, that America would become majority minority. White people would no longer be the majority in this country. And so, in order to slow or stop, halt that demographic shift, what this agenda, this Stephen Miller agenda, is to deport, get rid of, lock up all people of color in this country. You start with those that you're saying are illegal, those that you're saying are undocumented, those that you're saying are criminals, but we don't really know because they're not afforded due process under this administration who doesn't believe in the Constitution or the rule of law. Nonetheless, you revoke 500,000 visas to Haitians, Venezuelans, Cubans, right? And other groups that have been given legal permanent residency in the country. That case is also in the federal courts because Donald Trump said, I'm revoking them. And a federal judge said, you can't do that. On what basis? The basis is racism. I don't want those people of color here. You, in one breath, refer to people who are actual refugees and are fleeing actual crises in their country and trying to seek asylum as illegal aliens. But then you give white South Afrikaners refugee status and you ship in 50 white families and dump them in Alabama with protected status. And that's just the first plane. There will be many others because Donald Trump is going to go around the world finding aggrieved white people and saying, come on over here, procreate, make more white babies, and voila. We now reverse the demographic shift while criminalizing everyone else and effectively creating a resurgence of an apartheid America. Did I leave anything out? So while everybody else is playing mental gymnastics, taking one of these issues at a time, I'm here to connect all of the dots of what has happened because these are not siloed issues and siloed headlines. They are part of the larger white nationalist project to re-whiten America. So, again, folks continue to play games and pretend that Donald Trump isn't doing what he said that he would do, or, oh, he's not really racist, it's just greed and blah, blah, because that shit makes people feel better. But the fact of the matter is, this is a white nationalist agenda. This is White Citizens Council Rebirth. This is the Ku Klux Klan. This is, right? Name the group. And Donald Trump is their hero. If you take away a woman's ability, right, to have bodily autonomy, then you jail those, right, who either have abortions, get medical abortions, right, miscarry or what have you. You criminalize poverty. So those that are Black and brown that end up with children that they cannot afford, right, will end up in prison, feeding that private industrialized system. And then the white women will be forced into making more white babies. And because Donald Trump also is taking away your financial independence, which women only got in 1974, with the ability to get a credit card without your daddy or your husband and get a mortgage without your daddy or your husband, that's only been around since 1974, roughly 51 years. Donald Trump is signing executive orders, the SAVE Act, to take away a woman's ability to vote, because if you're birth certificate doesn't match your current license or social security card, guess what? Then you can't register to vote. So you have no voice, you have no bodily autonomy, and everything around you is becoming criminalized by the day. Oh, but Donald Trump wants to give you $5,000 to have more white babies, but won't give you health care or maternity leave. And it's taken away Head Start. Oh, cut SNAP benefits. Do you see what they are creating here? They are creating the conditions for a rise in crime because you got education, people lose their jobs, inflation is at an all-time high, tariff war increases the cost of every single item. You cut people's access to higher education, you cut people's access to Head Start, to food, to medicine. What do you think is going to happen as a result? And then the final solution for them, which is build more prisons, deport those people of color to other countries, regardless of whether or not they're citizens of this one. Because if you deport them, then those other countries are not bound by the same laws and humanitarian human treatment. And then for those white people that you lock up, okay, you fill the prisons here with them. But you create the conditions for hyper militarization of our police because crime is going to go through the roof, not because people have become more criminally minded. It's because you've taken away every social safety net that would allow them to thrive. And that's the point. That is the point. You manufacture desperation. You create the chaos. And then you waltz in with your final solution of martial law and hyper-militarized state. And you make, in the process, every single thing illegal. Your existence, your support of other people and their values, and your values, your freedom of expression, your freedom to organize, your freedom to think, your freedom to exist free inside your own body, your freedom to have the kind of sex that you want with whom you want. Because Mike Lee just introduced a bill, which is another huge part of Project 2025, to criminalize porn and indecency. But guess who gets to say what is indecent? Guess who gets to say what is porn? This is on their pathway to criminalize trans people for existing and to criminalize queer people so that we can go back to Lawrence v. Texas and the days of sodomy laws. When I say that they are coming for everything and everything all at once, these are all the dots. It is a white Christian nationalist agenda. Women are controlled. Black people know their place. Queer people don't exist. There are no books to read, no curriculum to offer that doesn't reinforce their way of life. And if you don't get on board with that, then you get boarded up and detained and shipped out and labeled as an enemy of the state, as a terrorist. It is going to make The Handmaid's Tale look like the Wizard of Oz because it's real and it's happening every single day, faster than we can even get a hold of. And that's why I have made it my job and my calling to try and connect the dots for those that this news cycle and this regime is working to overwhelm. Because if we don't pull back and see the bigger picture, then we are going to be taken in and swallowed up by the MAGA tsunami. I don't want to just survive. I want to exist in a world and in a country where I can thrive. But right now, folks need to get organized. Folks need to get out of their fucking heads. Folks need to turn that fear that we all have, because we are human, into fuel. Because the MAGA train ain't stopping. And it is running over our rights and dragging the Constitution behind it. Oh, dear friends. It is a dark time and space, but we remain here together. And this is what I will say about those that are supposedly on our side. If you see Gavin Newsom's name on any primary list for president, you make sure that you cross it out. I do not want to see Gavin Newsom have a career in politics at all ever again once his term is up. Newsom proposes scaling back health care for undocumented immigrants in California. Governor Gavin Newsom wants to charge monthly premiums for undocumented immigrants and stop adding new enrollees to program as soon as January. In a budget presentation on Wednesday, Newsom proposed freezing the enrollment of undocumented adults in the state's version of Medicaid, known as Medi-Cal, as soon as January. He is also seeking to charge people who remain in the program $100 a month beginning in 2027 and eliminate long-term care and dental benefits for undocumented adults and other non-citizens. What do you think that the result of that is going to be? The result of that is going to be people using the emergency room as a general practitioner. And who do you think is going to end up paying for that long term? Everything that these fucking politicians dream up in their stupid little heads are about dealing with long-term problems with short-term stupid fucking solutions that end up hurting their constituents and their state in the long term. I say this again. America is the only industrialized, wealthy nation that does not have universal health care. We are the only place that requires you to be both a CPA and have a fucking doctorate to figure out what it is that your healthcare is going to cover or not cover on any given fucking day. I am self-employed. I pay roughly, and I'm not happy to say it, $700 a month for healthcare out of my pocket. And before Obamacare, before there was a marketplace in New York, I wouldn't have had health care at all. And that is why they trap you into corporate America and the grind machine, or nonprofits and the grind machine, because you stay in a job based on what? The health care that you can get. Doesn't matter if that job is abusive, doesn't matter if it goes against your quality of life, it doesn't matter that it sucks you dry. You stay because you could have a pre-existing condition, you could be getting pregnant, you could have like all of the things, and you don't even get to decide, right? Even if you're in a job that has healthcare, who you would like to cover on that healthcare. That's a matter of marriage or birth. What if you have elderly parents? Other loved ones that need support and help. You can't even decide if you want to cover them. This country is just so fucked up. And it is. I've been saying this in the conversations that Jared Yates Sexton and I have on Substack every week for the check-in. This country is an abusive country. And we have normalized and even celebrated the abuse because we have been indoctrinated into believing that somehow the abuse that we withstand from America in terms of poor healthcare, poor education, like poor environmental regulations, we allow the food companies to poison us, the chemical companies to poison us, the gun lobby to fucking kill us. And they're all feeding the politicians, all at our expense. And we're told that if we ask for anything better, then we're socialists or communists. Oh, where else do you want to live? Oh, I don't know. Anywhere? It's like, it is, when you really truly unpack it, the levels of abuse that we withstand and then are told to celebrate that as some type of badge of honor. Oh, in Europe, you can't possibly get a hold of anybody in the month of August. The whole country is off. And we say that as if it's a bad thing. Americans leave more vacation days on the table because they're scared to death of losing their jobs and losing their health care and losing this false sense of security. Yeah, it's like open up your eyes, folks. The indoctrination isn't coming. It's been here. America is the best country. Prove to me how. Prove to me how needs to be the better question. Whenever a politician says at a town hall, says anywhere, America is the greatest nation on earth, tell me in how many ways. Because when you look on the health and happiness indexes of other countries, America is all the way at the fucking bottom. A marker of how healthy a country is not marked by how many fucking millionaires and billionaires they produce, who offer nothing to the rest of us. But that somehow has been what it is that's celebrated. Oh, America has more billionaires than anywhere on. Who the fuck cares? If those billionaires were actually paying half of their income into taxes that would benefit the rest of us, then yeah, let's celebrate them. Put them on fucking Mount Rushmore. But they're not. So, folks, the hypercapitalism, the misogyny, the racism are all part of the same fucking package that America has been putting different faces on and different stamps on, but has been feeding the same beast. And the only difference between Donald Trump and predecessors is the fact that he's taken the hood off, that he don't really give a fuck about euphemisms, that he doesn't really care about searching for votes or getting votes anymore, that he is going to be unapologetic in his racism and his misogyny and his greed. But those three things are hallmarks and have been of America since its inception. So I say that to say, to close out with this today. I also saw this on, where did I see this? On Substack today. And I thought it was so good, so poignant. Jess Phoenix posted this, saying it again for emphasis. 3 things that must never be operated for profit: healthcare, prisons, educations. Why? Because those correspond exactly with life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. The 3 things that are etched out in the Constitution of these United States that we, American citizens, have a right to: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we have allowed this country to privatize and monetize every single aspect that is supposed to be a given. And somehow we walk around here undereducated, obese, and sick, and think that we're better than everybody else around the world. Donald Trump is our motherfucking alarm clock, and everybody needs to stop hitting snooze. Lastly, as I close out, I like to offer, a call to action with my last show of the, well, it's not really my last show. It's my last Danielle Moodie show of the week, because I do other shows on Fridays. But my call to action is a little bit different today. It isn't about an organization or even about ourselves. But, many people ask me often, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What should I do? And honestly, I can't tell you what to do with your time, with your resources, right? Like with your energy, with your rage. That is up to you to decide. I can only offer what I am angry about and what I would do if I had unlimited resources, and et cetera, et cetera. So today's call to action isn't that. It's something very simple. There is a film that Marvel has put out, which is called Ironheart. And if you watch the last Wakanda Forever Black Panther movie, then you saw this character who was part of the like the trio of women that were fighting for Wakanda. And she's an American. She's like a super genius in the tech and robotics world. And she is a young Black woman. And Marvel has turned it into Ironheart, which is a series that is running, I think, right now on Disney Plus. Or no, it will premiere. The 3-episode premiere will happen on June 24th, 9 p.m. Eastern on Disney Plus. And right now, the trailer is out, and I posted it on my YouTube page because it's being trashed. Because white racists, much in the same way that they tried to bring down Sinners, which is also directed by Ryan Coogler, and this is directed by Ryan Coogler and centers a Black heroine and people of color. They are going and using the algorithms to trash this film. Now, I don't know whether it's good or whether it's not. I know that the trailer is fire. Like, the trailer looks incredible. And for a Black woman who I remember when I was young looking for stories that with people that looked like me, there were none. And so it excites me when Disney decides to actually put out diverse stories. And every single time, whether it was the Little Fucking Mermaid, right? Or it is a Cheerios commercial, or it is whatever, white people lose their ever-loving minds and see any bit of inclusion as an affront. And so I tell you all right now that more than 50% of the likes are on YouTube, this trailer, are dislikes, which never happens. 50% are dislikes. So to do a little light work today, go watch the trailer on my page. Like it, share it. We need more diverse stories. We need more imagery that centers other people. Because guess what? A majority of the people in this country do not have a passport. They experience the world through what they watch and what they hear. Basically through Hollywood. So if that is the way that people will learn, then my God, we need to make it so that more films like this are made, more stories like this are shown, so that networks say, oh yeah, actually that sells. Because the lie has always been, we can't tell Black stories or diverse stories or Latino stories or Asian stories or queer stories because they just don't sell. And the only thing that sells are white stories. And that is a lie. And so my call to action today is just watch the trailer. Share it on your social media posts. Tell other people to like and support it. Because it is about building out other voices, other experiences, particularly at a time when they are being readily erased. So that is my call to action today, dear friends. Lastly, before I get out of here, I think I'm going to run a poll, but I'm just going to ask you guys first, here that are in the chat and here that are watching right now. What other kinds of content would you like to see on the Danielle Moodie channel here on YouTube? Would you like to see interviews, me interviewing people? Would you like to see more short form, deep dive videos? Would you like to see more live content? What is it that you are interested in? I'm sourcing from my supporters from Damnation to get an idea, because I want to give you the kinds of content and that you like, that you want to come back for, that you want to share, that you want to tell other people about. And so I'm curious as to what I can do here that you all would like, that I'm not doing yet, or that I am doing, but you'd like to see more of. So I think that I'm going to put up a poll. And you all please use the poll. But if you're here right now or here in the comment section, do tell me what you would like to see, because I would love to give you more of that content. And as always, I want to thank you all for your support, for the super stickers and the super thanks. As I say, this is independent media, and I just told you how much my healthcare is. So, I am not out here making millions of dollars. So every dollar, every cent that you do offer and send goes a long way in helping me be able to to do the work that I love and that I'm called to do. But also provide you with the content that you all deserve. So thank you so much for your $1, your $2, your $25, your $100, and your $10. I appreciate them. And if you're looking for a way to support me on a monthly basis, do consider becoming a paid subscriber to the Damn Digest, which is my Substack, where I am doing other incredible content and shows. You can go there as well as Patreon. So I thank you all, as always. Oh, okay. You're giving me not only telling me to do interviews, but you're giving me people that you would like me to interview. I love this. Okay. So I'm gonna go back through, but I'm gonna run the poll, guys. This is helpful. And love to see it. So I appreciate each and every single one of you. I hope that you have an incredible, restful, joyful weekend. As always, power to the people, and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane. And in these extraordinarily dangerous times, dear friends, do stay safe. I will see you back here tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, for Democracy-ish with Wajahat Ali. And you can check out other content that I have up on Substack. Folks, I'm going to write up the poll and I'm going to post it in about 10 minutes. So you will see it then. Be well, friends.